woman appears one wintry night in Nederland, begging to be frozen while still alive. Terminally ill and running from a dark past, she arrives as the town is preparing to celebrate a dead Norwegian whose frozen body remains cryogenically preserved in the nearby mountain. The town of Nederland is internationally famous for the frozen dead guy and the annual festival that shares this name.
If you were from Nederland and you were somewhere else in the world and someone asked you where you're from and you said Nederland, Colorado, the first thing that they would say is, "Oh, isn't that where that frozen dead guy is?"
This television series builds on this legend, creating a fictional town where freezing people alive is one of many illegal industries.
So Brito Morstel died in Norway. He's never going to be revived. He was dead for a week before he was frozen. And this is true of everybody who's involved in the cryonics industry. They're freezing people who are dead. They're selling false hope. Anybody who's frozen, once they're dead, they're dead. However, what would happen if someone were frozen before they die? If you take a person whose cells are still intact and then freeze them and store them in liquid nitrogen, would it be possible then, perhaps in the future, to revive that person? I think that's a possibility. It's still science fiction, but it's a possibility. So that's where the idea came from. Brito he's dead. He is frozen, he's dead. However, if you really want any chance of being revived, you should be frozen before you die. Now that, of course, is totally illegal. And that's what this series is about. It's about people wanting to be frozen before they die.
Frozen Dead is a television series that touches upon the deepest and darkest reaches of the human psyche, but does so in a life-affirming way.
Frozen Dead is a story set in Nederland, Colorado. What prompts all the action, what sets things in motion, is this request by a young woman who has come to Nederland. She is being hunted by the law. She only has a short time to live, and she desperately wants to be cryogenically preserved. The main character must make a very difficult ethical decision whether or not to grant her her wish. And once he does, then the town and all the central characters will never be the same again.
Over the course of many episodes, our fictional Nederland becomes the epicenter of an illegal cryonics industry where people facing loss are frozen while still alive.
Cryonics is a vehicle through which we can explore issues of life and death, immortality, love, loss. That's what the series is about. So the cryonics part of the story is a vehicle that gets us into some really interesting human topics.
I believe that we are telling a story unlike any other, and that is a collective story, and it's a big story. It's a story of where we as a nation are right now in history. It's a story of where people on the planet are right now in history. And once you peel back the layer of appearance of Nederland, the series will begin to open up into all kinds of issues of our time.
Each episode gives us a window into what it is to be alive and the hubris of those seeking to transcend death. We explore love, life, death, and the spirit realm while maintaining a solid footing in science.
I see great stories. Most of my background is in documentary filmmaking, and whenever I work on documentaries, I tell great stories. This is a little different for me because I know the story in advance. When you're making a documentary, you don't know the story in advance. So the story kind of reveals itself to you as you make it. But in this case, we know the story in advance, and it's a great story.
There are so many stories up here, so much rich history, the mining history, the music history, the reputation of Nederland as a kind of an alternative and sometimes extra-legal place. It is full of incredible characters, all boiled down to themselves individually, and no one is making any pretense to be anyone other than who they are. There's always been tremendous energy and creativity in here. I've always known that there are many stories here in Nederland. This seemed to be an opportunity to get a way into those stories. I think it's really turning out to be true. There are all kinds of directions, plot directions, and just sub-stories that just keep coming up, and really it's the place itself that's generating that.
I think it's a great script. I think we have a great scriptwriter. I think we have a great director. And I feel like people will be sincerely interested in this because I don't think there's anything that really has been done like this.
We have ambitions to do great things here. And we are doing it with local actors who aren't being paid. We're doing it with local crew that aren't being paid, scriptwriter that's not being paid. It's a labor of love at this point, and it's really worth supporting.
Frozen Dead aims to be a successful television series. We have commitments from actors, crew, and locations to produce the first episode by summer of 2017, and we'll be seeking distribution deals with major broadcasters. Become part of Frozen Dead. Join our Kickstarter campaign or become a shareholder in our Frozen Dead LLC. We're building this from the ground up, and you can be a founding partner.